Worse than sugar, the secret food that destroys your heart health. You might be eating an ingredient every single day that seems harmless, but it's secretly sabotaging your heart. That's right. While you worry about sugar, cholesterol, or fat, there's another villain, much more common, acting silently inside your body. It's in the simplest dishes, the most routine meals, and its effects are devastating. This food has the power to inflame your arteries, raise your blood pressure, and speed up the aging of your vessels. And the worst part? It's rarely noticed. Most people have no idea how much its presence on their plate is costing them years of life and vitality. Do you feel constant tiredness? Difficulty keeping your energy throughout the day? Have you ever stopped to think that this might not be just age or stress, but rather the reflection of a diet made of seemingly innocent choices? In this video, we will reveal the most destructive food for your heart, that one that's worsening your health without you even realizing it. And not only that, along the way, you'll also meet other silent saboteurs that need to be removed from your plate right now. Want to find out what's really compromising your heart health? Then watch until the end, because what you're about to hear here, no one else is telling you. Number 15. Sweetened condensed milk and dairy desserts. Milk-based sweets, like condensed milk, seem irresistible. They are in cakes, frozen desserts, fillings, and even in the afternoon bread. But this delight hides a dangerous combination for your heart: excess refined sugar and saturated fats. This duo is highly inflammatory and promotes an internal environment that favors fat buildup in the arteries, making blood circulation difficult. Condensed milk, for example, is practically a liquid calorie bomb. Every spoonful contains very high doses of sugar, which quickly turn into glucose in the blood. This constant glycemic spike triggers inflammatory processes and increases triglyceride production, two factors that directly contribute to artery clogging. And it doesn't stop there. The saturated fat present in these desserts speeds up the process even more. Industrial dairy desserts like flans, mousses, and ready-made puddings aren't far behind. They carry an unhealthy mix of additives, colorings, and preservatives that, besides harming intestinal health, negatively affect the cardiovascular system. When these substances accumulate in the body, they increase systemic inflammation and, as a result, raise the risk of heart diseases. Regular consumption of these foods is also associated with weight gain, which in turn burdens the heart and worsens insulin resistance. This is even more concerning for people who already have a predisposition to hypertension or diabetes. In other words, a simple dessert can be the trigger for serious long-term heart problems. But the most alarming thing is that these desserts are socially normalized. They're at parties, family gatherings, and even as everyday treats. That's why it's essential to develop a more conscious relationship with these foods, seeking healthier homemade alternatives made with natural fruits, plant-based milk, or without added sugar. And beware, if you think you've seen it all, get ready. The worst food for your heart will be revealed in the last chapter, and it's even more common than condensed milk. Wait for it, because this revelation will change how you look at your diet. Number 14. Canned and pickled foods with lots of sodium. Canned foods are practical, fast, and affordable. But this convenience comes with a very high cost to your heart health. Products like corn, peas, tuna, sausages, and even hearts of palm and brine contain an absurd amount of sodium. This excess salt is used as a preservative, but is also one of the biggest villains behind high blood pressure and heart failure. Excess sodium causes the body to retain fluids, which increases blood volume in the vessels and raises blood pressure. This forces the heart to work harder to pump blood, overloading the heart muscle. Over time, this overload can result in heart hypertrophy, artery stiffening, and even congestive heart failure. Besides sodium, many of these foods contain other chemical preservatives that, when accumulated in the body, interfere with kidney function and cholesterol metabolism. The result? A constant internal inflammatory environment that directly affects the cardiovascular system. And that's not even counting the impact these ingredients have on the kidneys, organs that work closely with the heart to maintain body balance. Have you checked the label on a can of corn? In many cases, a single serving can exceed 25% of the recommended daily sodium intake. This means that throughout the day, it's very easy to exceed the healthy limit, even without adding salt to food at the table. This is the silent danger of ultra-processed foods and innocent canned goods. A good practice is to opt for no salt-added versions or rinse canned foods well before consuming. Whenever possible, choose fresh or frozen foods, which preserve nutrients without needing large amounts of sodium. Small changes like this make a huge difference for your cardiovascular health. Keep alert, because despite the dangers of canned foods, there's still a food even more harmful: a true saboteur of your heart. And this villain will be revealed in the last chapter of this video. You won't want to miss it. Number 13. Industrialized hamburgers. They're popular, tasty, and easy to prepare. But industrialized hamburgers carry an explosive combination for the heart: saturated fats, excess sodium, and a long list of chemical additives. These ingredients make the food extremely harmful, especially when consumed frequently and combined with other equally harmful items like processed cheeses and artificial sauces. The saturated fat in processed hamburgers is one of the main factors raising LDL cholesterol, the so-called bad cholesterol. This type of fat favors plaque buildup in the arteries, a process known as atherosclerosis. Over time, these plaques hinder blood flow, which can cause heart attacks and strokes. Besides fat, excess sodium is another concerning component. It not only raises blood pressure but also promotes fluid retention and blood vessel inflammation. This creates a perfect environment for the progressive deterioration of cardiovascular health. It's like pouring fuel on an already burning fire. Another aggravating factor is the chemical additives used to preserve flavor, color, and texture in hamburgers. Ingredients like monosodium glutamate, phosphates, and stabilizers are not only unnecessary but also interfere with metabolism, disrupt insulin, and increase inflammation levels in the body. All this further aggravates risks to the heart. These hamburgers also have a very high caloric density and low nutritional value, which contributes to weight gain and increases the burden on the heart. The result is a cycle of poor diet and metabolic deterioration, something that can be avoided with more conscious food choices. Therefore, if you love hamburgers, consider making them at home with natural ingredients and lean meats. This way, you control the salt, fats, and eliminate additives. A simple change like this can represent a big step towards a healthier and longer life. Number 12. Microwave popcorn with artificial butter. Popcorn seems like a harmless snack, but when we talk about microwave popcorn with artificial butter, the reality changes completely. This food is full of highly processed ingredients that together create a destructive combo for cardiovascular health. The big problem isn't the corn itself, but the chemical additives, excess sodium, and especially the presence of trans fats hidden in the flavorings. Trans fats are known to significantly raise bad cholesterol, LDL, and reduce good cholesterol, HDL. This creates a dangerous imbalance that favors plaque buildup in arteries, promoting atherosclerosis. And when these arteries start closing, the heart needs to work much harder to pump blood, which can lead to heart attacks and heart failures. Another aggravating factor is the amount of sodium present in these industrialized versions. Some packages easily exceed the recommended daily limits for a single portion. And since popcorn is eaten casually, people often consume the entire bag at once without realizing the immediate negative impact this has on blood pressure. The artificial flavorings used to simulate butter taste are also highly problematic. Studies indicate these compounds can cause systemic inflammation, directly affecting blood vessels and promoting oxidative stress. This kind of constant aggression to cardiovascular tissues speeds up aging and increases the risk of early heart diseases. For popcorn lovers, the best option is to prepare it at home using corn kernels and olive oil or coconut oil in small amounts. Natural seasonings like paprika, turmeric, or dried herbs also help add flavor without compromising heart health. It's a simple swap that can make a big difference over the years. And attention, even though industrial popcorn is dangerous, it still isn't the worst food for your heart. That real villain will be revealed in the last chapter. What's coming next is even more common and dangerous than you imagine. Number 11. White bread and soft rolls. White bread is among the most consumed foods worldwide, especially at breakfast. But what few know is the silent impact it has on cardiovascular health. Made with refined wheat flour, this type of bread loses practically all fiber and nutrients during processing, turning into a fast-absorbing carbohydrate that is one of the main causes of blood sugar spikes. These constant spikes favor abdominal fat accumulation, one of the greatest risk factors for heart disease. The visceral fat released by the body interferes directly with hormones that regulate blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and insulin. The result is a deregulated metabolic scenario that overloads the heart with every meal. Soft rolls, although they appear light and child-friendly, are even more problematic. Being soft and slightly sweet, they are often consumed in excess. This raises the glycemic index even more and causes imbalances in glucose and triglycerides. In the long run, this type of dietary pattern contributes to the development of metabolic syndrome, a condition that drastically worsens cardiovascular risks. Moreover, these products contain chemical additives, stabilizers, and preservatives that, when consumed frequently, inflame the body. This chronic inflammation, even at low levels, is one of the main causes of modern heart problems. And worst of all, this can all be happening even when the person thinks they're making a neutral food choice. The healthier alternative is to replace white bread with genuine whole grain versions, rich in fiber and without added sugar. Another good option is homemade breads with varied grains, seeds, and less refined flours. This swap helps control weight, improves digestion, and protects heart health. But if you thought white bread was one of the worst choices, know there's a food even more harmful. It will be revealed in the last chapter, and you might be consuming this heart enemy every day without knowing it. Number 10. Boxed juices. Colorful, practical, and supposedly healthy. Boxed juices easily deceive with their appearance and label claims such as rich in vitamin C or with fruit pulp. But behind these attractive packages lies one of the greatest saboteurs of modern cardiovascular health. The truth is these juices are rich in sugar, dyes, preservatives, and offer almost none of the benefits of fresh fruit. The big problem lies in the absurd amount of sugar in these drinks. Even those labeled 100% fruit can contain very high levels of concentrated fructose without the natural fibers that would help control its absorption. This results in intense glycemic spikes that stimulate fat production by the liver and increase triglyceride levels, one of the main indicators of cardiovascular risk. Besides sugar, the chemical additives are worrying. Artificial dyes, acidulants, and stabilizers directly affect metabolism, inflame tissues, and promote insulin resistance. This dysregulated metabolic scenario increases the likelihood of hypertension and heart diseases, even in young, apparently healthy people. Another important aspect is habitual consumption of these juices by children and the elderly. They are often offered as fruit substitutes, creating a dietary pattern that favors obesity and metabolic deterioration throughout life. The false sense of healthy living associated with boxed juice perpetuates this harmful cycle. The alternative is simple. Replace boxed juices with water, natural unsweetened teas, or fresh juices prepared at home with whole fruits and vegetables. Even so, it's important to remember that the ideal is to consume the whole fruit with its fibers and nutrients intact, thus ensuring slower and more balanced absorption. Stay with me, because there are still extremely dangerous foods ahead, and the most destructive one for the heart will be revealed soon. Don't miss the final chapter. It brings the most important revelation in this video. Number 9. Instant noodles. Few foods represent the convenience of modern life like instant noodles. Quick, cheap, and easy to prepare, they're a staple in many households. But what many people don't know is that this seemingly harmless food is a real nightmare for cardiovascular health. The combination of excess sodium, poor quality fats, and chemical additives turns this dish into a significant risk factor. A single package of instant noodles can contain up to 90% of the recommended daily sodium intake, and that's not counting the extra salt many people add after cooking. This excess causes fluid retention, raises blood pressure, and overloads both the kidneys and heart. Over time, frequent consumption favors the development of hypertension, one of the leading causes of heart attacks and strokes. The fat present in these noodles is also a concern. Many versions are fried before packaging, making them rich in saturated fats or even trans fats, depending on the brand. This type of fat is directly linked to increased bad cholesterol, LDL, and reduced good cholesterol, HDL, aggravating the risk of arterial obstructions and compromising circulation. Furthermore, instant noodles often come with flavor enhancers like monosodium glutamate, which, in excess, can cause inflammatory reactions and nervous system imbalances. These effects, although less discussed, indirectly contribute to an unfavorable environment for cardiovascular health, especially in people predisposed to heart diseases. The almost null nutritional value of these products worsens the situation. There are no fibers, vitamins, or minerals in significant quantities, making them empty calories. With this, the body consumes energy but doesn't receive the nutrients necessary to protect itself from internal damage, increasing the risk of chronic inflammation. Now think, how many times has instant noodles been part of your routine? Even though it's a common food, it might be keeping you away from the health you want. And if you think instant noodles are bad, wait to discover the worst of all. The most destructive food for the heart will be revealed in the last chapter. Don't miss this crucial information. Number 8. Industrialized milk chocolates. It's hard to resist milk chocolate. It immediately brings pleasure, improves mood, and is present at many special occasions. However, this pleasure can come with a high cost for the heart. Industrial chocolates are loaded with refined sugar, hydrogenated fat, and additives that severely damage the cardiovascular system, especially when consumed frequently. The high sugar concentration in these products causes blood sugar spikes, which raise insulin levels and promote the accumulation of visceral fat. This fat, located around organs, releases inflammatory substances that directly affect artery health and increase the risk of heart attacks. Over time, the heart suffers from this constant aggression. Another problem is the presence of hydrogenated fat, common in many popular milk chocolates. This fat, a type of trans fat, is known to clog arteries, increase bad cholesterol, and reduce good cholesterol. Even in small quantities, frequent consumption of this substance causes a direct negative impact on blood flow and promotes cardiovascular diseases. Additionally, milk chocolates often have additives like emulsifiers, artificial dyes, and flavorings. Although they make the product more attractive and durable, these components increase the inflammatory load on the body and affect metabolism, contributing to hormonal imbalances that also reflect on heart health. And it's important to remember, not all chocolates are the same. Chocolates with low cocoa content and high sugar should be avoided, while versions with more than 70% cocoa, in small amounts, may even offer benefits. The difference lies in the composition and how much attention you pay to what you're eating. So, next time you consume chocolate, choose wisely. Prefer purer, less processed chocolates with lower sugar content. Your heart will thank you in the long run. Number 7. Frozen or fast food pizza. Pizza is synonymous with pleasure, comfort, and convenience. But when we talk about frozen or fast food versions, the scenario is very different. These industrialized pizzas are made with ingredients that, combined, form a real threat to cardiovascular health. Refined flour, ultra-processed cheeses, processed meats, and trans fats join forces to create an extremely inflammatory and dangerous dish for the heart. The base of most of these pizzas is made with white flour, which has a high glycemic index and causes sugar spikes in the blood. These spikes, when frequent, promote insulin resistance and contribute to abdominal fat accumulation, one of the main markers of cardiovascular risk. In other words, the dough that seems light can be a silent metabolic trap. The toppings aren't better. Processed cheeses like cheddar, calabrese sausage, ham, and other processed meats are rich in sodium and saturated fat. These components raise blood pressure and increase bad cholesterol levels, harming artery elasticity and reducing adequate blood flow to the heart and brain. Over time, this turns into serious diseases such as heart attacks and strokes. Another alarming factor is the use of hydrogenated fat in some frozen doughs and industrialized sauces. This type of fat is one of the most harmful to the cardiovascular system, as it not only affects cholesterol but also stimulates systemic inflammations that weaken blood vessels. The heart ends up working in an environment of constant metabolic stress. Pizzas also concentrate too many calories in small portions, contributing to rapid weight gain and increased obesity risk, another factor that worsens heart problems. In short, it's a dish that might seem harmless on a Saturday night, but carries a real destructive potential for those who consume it regularly. Therefore, if you want to maintain heart health, it's better to prepare homemade pizza with natural ingredients, whole grain doughs, and light toppings. This allows full control of the components and significantly reduces health risks. And be aware, no matter how serious the impact of industrialized pizza is, it's still not the worst villain on this list. The most dangerous food for the heart will be revealed in the last chapter, and it's more common than you imagine. Stay with me until the end. Number 6. Soft drinks. Soft drinks are widely consumed by people of all ages, often associated with moments of leisure, quick meals, or just a simple daily refreshment. However, what seems like just a sweet drink hides one of the biggest risks for heart health. Both traditional and zero versions are among the most harmful products to metabolism and the cardiovascular system. Traditional versions contain very high doses of refined sugar, on average about 10 teaspoons per can. This sugar excess causes intense blood sugar spikes, which raise triglyceride levels and promote visceral fat accumulation. Fat accumulated around internal organs is directly linked to increased risk of hypertension, heart attacks, and coronary diseases. Zero soft drinks, even without sugar, are not safe alternatives. They contain artificial sweeteners such as aspartame and sucralose, which negatively affect gut flora, increase insulin resistance, and promote hormonal imbalances. Studies show frequent consumption of these substances is linked to higher risk of metabolic syndrome and cardiovascular diseases. Moreover, both types are highly acidic and nutrient-poor. This acidity can contribute to mineral loss like calcium and magnesium, which are essential for blood pressure balance and proper muscle function, including the heart. Long-term continuous consumption of these products deteriorates health on multiple levels. Another worrying point is soft drink consumption by children and adolescents, which can establish harmful dietary patterns early on. Replacing water with soft drinks contributes to a generation more prone to obesity, type 2 diabetes, and early heart diseases, a vicious cycle that needs to be broken. And even though soft drinks are among the worst villains, there's still a food even more harmful to the heart. In the last chapter, you'll discover which common ingredient might be sabotaging your health every day. Stay until the end for this revelation. Number 5. Ultra-processed cheeses. Ultra-processed cheeses, like those found in fast foods or sold in packaged slices, are very different from traditional cheeses. Made with dairy production residues, thickeners, dyes, and large amounts of salt, they're a direct threat to heart health. These products are often used in hamburgers, ready sandwiches, and even frozen ready meals, but their cardiovascular impact is devastating. The first problem is the very high sodium content. Just one slice of processed cheese can contain nearly 20% of the recommended daily salt intake. When consumed regularly, these cheeses contribute to increased blood pressure, one of the main risk factors for heart diseases and strokes. The worst part is many people consume them unknowingly, hidden in snacks, pizzas, and sauces. Another alarming component is saturated fat, which is present in high amounts in these products. This fat contributes to the buildup of bad cholesterol, LDL, in the arteries, favoring plaque formation that blocks blood flow. Over time, this blockage can cause silent heart attacks and permanent damage to the heart muscle. Moreover, chemical additives used to give texture and flavor to these cheeses compromise metabolic health. Substances like phosphates and emulsifiers are linked to chronic inflammation, harming blood vessels and speeding up cardiovascular aging. It's like every slice pushes your heart closer to damage. Important: don't confuse these with natural cheeses like mayonnaise or aged Parmesan, which in moderation can fit a balanced diet. The problem is with the industrial, heavily manipulated versions that stray far from real cheese. So, choose simpler, less processed options. Reading labels is key. The more unknown ingredients, the farther you should stay. Your heart deserves real food, not a pile of chemicals. Number 4. Industrial cakes, pies, and sweets. They're tempting, colorful, and often linked to emotional comfort. Ready-made cakes, pies, and sweets are part of many people's routines, whether afternoon snacks or celebrations. But behind the sugary taste hide dangerous ingredients that cause inflammation and speed up artery aging. These effects, when constant, seriously harm the heart. These products usually combine refined sugar, white flour, and hydrogenated vegetable fat. Sugar causes constant spikes in glucose and insulin, promoting belly fat and raising triglycerides. White flour, low in fiber, quickly turns into sugar in the blood, increasing metabolic stress. Hydrogenated fat, found in toppings, doughs, and fillings, is one of the worst for your heart. It clogs arteries more efficiently than saturated fat, reducing blood flow and forcing the heart to work harder, raising risk of atherosclerosis and heart failure. They also contain preservatives, dyes, and stabilizers that impair digestion, damage the liver, and disrupt hormonal balance. The inflammation caused directly impacts blood vessels, increasing arterial stiffness and reducing flexibility needed for proper cardiovascular function. Frequent consumption is another problem. These foods are cheap, convenient, and tasty, so they become habits, not exceptions. Even small daily portions cause dangerous damage accumulation that often shows up years later when it's too late. And if you think these industrial sweets are the biggest danger, get ready. The most destructive food for the heart is yet to come, and it could be part of your daily routine without you noticing. Don't miss this essential reveal for your health. Number 3. Processed meats. Processed meats are among the most dangerous items for heart health. Foods like sausage, bacon, ham, and salami are common in quick snacks, breakfasts, and even main meals. But behind the convenience and bold flavor hides a toxic combo of sodium, nitrites, and preservatives that directly encourage cardiovascular disease. The sodium in these meats is heavily used to preserve and boost flavor. But this excess is a leading cause of hypertension, which overloads the heart and raises risk of heart attacks and strokes. Nitrites and nitrates used as preservatives react in the body, forming carcinogenic compounds while inflaming vessels and harming circulation. The saturated fat in many of these meats also raises LDL cholesterol and promotes plaque buildup. Frequent intake speeds up atherosclerosis, reduces vessel elasticity, and compromises oxygen and nutrient transport. This makes the heart work harder, wearing out the organ over the years. Another serious point is additives like stabilizers and artificial dyes, which affect metabolism and raise insulin resistance. This constant inflammation triggers silent cardiovascular problems, often only detected after serious damage. Processed meats should not be part of a regular diet. Instead, prioritize natural protein sources like fish, eggs, legumes, and lean meats prepared without excess fat or salt. Just swapping a ham sandwich for a boiled egg can make a huge difference in heart health. And even with all these risks, there's a food even more destructive. In the last chapter, you'll discover the worst of all, the true villain of modern heart health. Number 2. Fried foods cooked in reused oil. Crispy golden, hot fries look irresistible. They're found in almost every fast food chain and many home meals. But when fried in reused oil, as often happens, they become a cardiovascular inflammation bomb. Reheated oil oxidizes, producing toxic substances that directly damage blood vessels. These oxidized fats cause inflammation in artery walls, making blood flow harder and encouraging fat plaque buildup. The heart, trying to keep blood flowing, works under constant stress, greatly increasing risk of heart attacks, heart failure, and high blood pressure. This happens even in young people who regularly eat fried foods. Another big problem is that these fries are often eaten with other equally harmful foods like sodas, processed burgers, and artificial sauces. This combo boosts negative effects, raising inflammatory load and making cardiovascular recovery harder after meals. Reused oil can also contain acrylamide, a substance linked to chronic inflammation and metabolic dysfunctions. This prolonged inflammation is a major trigger for heart disease, especially when combined with excess sodium and saturated fat in these meals. So it's crucial to avoid fried foods cooked in reused oil and swap them for baked or grilled dishes. You can still keep taste and crunch with oven or air fryer methods without risking your heart health. And if you think fried food is the worst your diet has to offer, wait for the next chapter. The number 1 villain of your cardiovascular health will be revealed, and the truth might deeply surprise you. Number 1. Margarine and foods with hydrogenated fat. Now, we've reached the final chapter. The food that tops the list when it comes to heart danger. Margarine and products containing hydrogenated fat, like stuffed cookies, industrial cakes, and creamy ice creams, are the biggest silent saboteurs of modern cardiovascular health. Frequent consumption is directly linked to a big increase in risk of fatal heart attacks and diseases. Hydrogenated fat, also known as trans fat, is industrially made to increase food shelf life and texture. But once in your body, it turns into a real poison for your arteries. This fat sharply raises LDL, bad cholesterol, and lowers HDL, good cholesterol, creating the perfect setting for artery blockages in the coronary arteries. The big danger is that these fats often go unnoticed. Even foods that look light or diet can contain small amounts of trans fats, and daily consumption adds up. The inflammation caused by these fats is deep, silent, and often irreversible, damaging the heart at all levels, from blood pressure to tissue oxygenation. Studies show regular margarine and hydrogenated fat intake is linked to higher cardiovascular death rates, even in young, active people. The metabolic impact of these fats is so severe that many countries have banned them. Unfortunately, they're still easy to find on shelves in many places. Switching to healthier alternatives is essential. Instead of margarine, use organic butter in small amounts, olive oil, or even mashed avocado. The focus should be on natural, minimally processed foods rich in good fats like nuts and fish. Avoiding hydrogenated fat isn't just a food choice, it's a decision that could save your life. Now that you know the biggest villain for your heart, it's in your hands to turn your plate into an ally for longevity and well-being. And if you want to keep getting the best videos for your health, subscribe to the channel because it exists for only one reason: to help you. In the video now on your screen, I reveal 11 signs of mini stroke in seniors. To check it out, just click the screen. See you there.